When the world collapses, it won't be the expensive gear that keeps you alive. It'll be the junk you threw out last week. The plastic lids, the burnt foil, the empty bottles, the stuff you thought had no value until everything else failed. After the blackout, when shelves are empty and panic takes over, people won't be looking for high-tech gadgets. They'll be begging for the things you've been trashing your whole life. In this video, we're uncovering 7 kitchen throwaways that'll be worth more than gold when the grid goes down. If you've got a drawer full of what most people call garbage, you might already be richer than you think. Let's get into it. If you've got a drawer full of what most people call garbage, you might already be richer than you think. Number 1. Used wax paper. It's just a wrapper. You probably balled it up and tossed it without a second thought, maybe after wrapping last night's sandwich or lining a cookie tray. But used wax paper isn't just a greasy sheet of trash. In a collapse, it becomes one of the most underappreciated survival tools in your entire kitchen. You see, that thin wax coating isn't there just to make things look clean. It's waterproof. It catches flame. And when the world around you is soaked from rain, snow, or spilled water, dry tinder becomes the difference between a hot meal and nothing at all. Most fire starters you buy in survival kits rely on the same principle: wax plus paper equals slow, controlled burn. But you've had that formula sitting in your garbage bin this whole time. Used wax paper lights up even when other paper won't. The wax protects the fibers from absorbing moisture. So while your newspaper might fail you in damp conditions, this greasy little sheet catches a spark and holds it long enough to ignite wood shavings or kindling. All it takes is folding it properly and storing it in a dry tin or plastic bag before the crisis hits. And the best part? You don't even need new wax paper. The ones that wrapped your bread or lined a tray still work. In fact, used ones are often better. They've absorbed oils, fats, and crumbs that make them even more flammable. But fire starting isn't the only survival role this trash plays. In a grid-down situation, hygiene becomes critical. That same wax paper can serve as a makeshift barrier for preparing raw meat or fish. It can be folded into a funnel to pour water into tight bottles without spilling. Or it can even be used to temporarily wrap medicines, seeds, or dried herbs when containers are scarce. Some preppers even use wax paper as emergency insulation, layering it between fabrics to block wind and moisture in DIY sleeping bags or makeshift jackets. It's not high-tech, it's not pretty. But when things go dark, the smartest survivors aren't the ones with the flashiest gear. They're the ones who knew what to save. So the next time you unwrap that sandwich or peel off that cookie liner, don't just toss it. Wipe it, fold it, store it. Because when everyone else is rubbing sticks together in the cold, you'll already have fire in your pocket disguised as a used wrapper they thought was worthless. Number 2, broken plastic cutting boards. Most people see a cracked cutting board and think, time to replace it. They toss it in the trash and never look back. But when the lights go out, the supply trucks stop rolling, and stores turn into ghost towns, that broken piece of plastic suddenly becomes a survival essential. It's not just kitchen waste, it's durable, waterproof, and built to handle force. That's more than you can say about most disposable gear. And in a post-collapse world, where even basic tools become luxury items, those jagged plastic scraps might be the most versatile weapon in your arsenal. Let's start with the basics. A broken plastic cutting board can be reshaped or snapped further into flat, sturdy pieces. These pieces work as scoops for ash, snow, or dry goods. Try making a scoop from cardboard in the rain, it won't last 2 seconds. But a cutting board fragment? It's already built to resist moisture, food acids, and daily wear. You can use it to shovel grain, dig shallow holes, or even scrape ice off surfaces. No electricity, no metal, just smart thinking. Now let's talk fire. Need a base layer for your campfire to keep it off wet ground? Plastic boards can act as a dry platform. Need to block wind from blowing out your flame? Snap off a corner and use it as a shield. And if you're cooking with makeshift gear, the flat surface doubles as a heat barrier under your cookware, keeping it off unstable surfaces like dirt, snow, or soft ground. And here's the part nobody talks about: first aid. In a medical emergency, that same piece of broken plastic can be turned into an emergency splint. Secure it with fabric or paracord, and you've got instant limb stabilization. It's not pretty, but it works. And when help is hours or days away, works is all that matters. You can also drill small holes in the plastic to turn it into gear tags, trap triggers, or even makeshift fish scaling tools. In some cases, people have even used cutting board fragments to reinforce broken backpacks or patch up window gaps with duct tape. It's the survival equivalent of having a lightweight, mold-resistant sheet of armor in your bug-out kit. So if you're staring at a cracked plastic board thinking it's useless, think again. Because when the world falls apart, the smartest people won't be buying, they'll be repurposing. And that broken board? It might be your backup shovel, windshield, fire base, splint, or tray, all in one. Number 3, kitchen utensils. In most homes, kitchen utensils are background noise: tongs tossed in drawers, whisks lost in clutter, spatulas burned at the edges. When they snap, melt, or rust, we replace them without a second thought. But in a full-blown crisis, those overlooked tools suddenly become irreplaceable assets. You won't care how pretty they are, you'll care that they still work. And more importantly, you'll realize just how many survival roles they're quietly capable of: cooking tools. They're heat-resistant, shaped for scooping, stirring, scraping, and even straining. A long-handled metal spoon can double as a mini shovel for ash, embers, or grain. Slotted spoons become water strainers or ash sifters. Rusty fork? That's a fishing spearhead or a trap trigger. Even a broken whisk can be uncoiled into flexible wire for binding, sewing, or even creating trip alarms around your shelter. Plastic or silicone tools might seem weaker, but they bring different advantages. In blackout cooking setups, especially around fire or solar ovens, they protect your hands from heat transfer. Their soft edges can clean out containers without wasting food. And in collapse scenarios where every calorie counts, that's no small deal. Ever scraped peanut butter from the bottom of a jar with your finger? Now imagine doing it with a silicone spatula and not wasting a drop. That's survival math. Now consider damaged or discarded utensils, ones with cracked handles or melted tips. Instead of throwing them away, they can be rigged into improvised gear. Need to stir boiling water in a tin can without touching it? That broken wooden spoon still does the job. Need a way to prop open a vent or latch a door? A bent spatula or broken tong arm suddenly becomes a lever. The more damage a system takes, the more value flexibility and improvisation hold. And here's the kicker: utensils don't take up extra space. They're already in your kitchen. You don't have to prep for them, buy new ones, or store them in bulk. All you have to do is recognize their value before it's too late. So before you toss that melted ladle or cracked spatula, think again. In the chaos of collapse, the smartest survivor isn't the one with the newest gear, it's the one who knew that every overlooked tool, even from the kitchen drawer, could become a lifeline. Number 4, metal can lids. You've probably opened a can of beans or soup and tossed the lid straight into the trash. It's sharp, it's dirty, and it looks like nothing more than scrap metal. But after the collapse, that same lid might become one of the most valuable things you've got in your bag. Because when supplies run dry and you're forced to make do with what's around you, every single piece of metal becomes a tool, and the can lid in particular punches way above its weight. Let's start with the obvious. It's sharp. A cleanly removed lid, especially one taken off with a manual can opener, holds an edge that can rival cheap knives. In a world where every blade matters, this thin circle of steel can cut rope, fabric, even skin if needed. Need to process small game? Need to shape wood for a fire? That can lid is more than just trash, it's a cutting edge that most people leave behind. But it gets more interesting. Because of its flat shape and metallic surface, a can lid can reflect light. That makes it a signaling device in daylight. Flash it toward a distant vehicle, building, or aircraft, and it could draw attention the right kind when you need rescue or backup. Even in short distances, a glint of metal can be used as a location marker or to track movement from afar. Some preppers even bend them into scoops for powdered items, cooking oils, or small seeds. Need to pour rice or lentils into a small jar? A bent can lid works as a funnel. Need to fan a fire or scrape ice off a surface? It's already got the shape for that. In harsher scenarios, multiple lids can even be turned into makeshift armor plates for your hands or forearms when dealing with broken glass or debris, and don't ignore the psychological value. When everyone else is panicking, and you're calmly using a piece of trash as a cutting tool or emergency reflector, it sends a signal to your group and to yourself: you're still thinking. You're still adapting. Just be smart, always clean them, avoid jagged lids that could hurt you more than help, and store them flat in a safe wrap or pouch. Because while others discard these little metal discs without a second thought, you'll know better. When the grid is down and survival is everything, even the lid from last night's dinner could end up saving your life. Number 5. Empty spice bottles. In most kitchens, spice bottles are seen as throwaway items once they're empty. A quick rinse, a lazy toss into the trash, and they're gone, replaced by the next jar of oregano or black pepper. But if the grid goes down and supply chains break, those tiny containers suddenly become powerful assets. Because in collapse scenarios, it's not just the big-ticket items that matter, it's the small, stackable, resealable containers that make all the difference between chaos and control. Empty spice bottles are built for survival, they just don't know it yet. Think about it. They're compact, airtight, moisture-resistant, and built to store strong-smelling powders without leaking. If they can handle turmeric and chili powder, they can handle nearly anything you'll need to preserve or transport when things fall apart. Salt, sugar, medicine, dry herbs, fire-starting powders, seeds, bandages, pills, matches, it all fits, seals, and stores without taking up valuable space. In a world where contamination becomes a deadly risk, having dozens of small, sealable containers lets you keep critical supplies separate. You don't want your antibiotics mixing with your tea leaves. You don't want your fire starter powder accidentally dampening from a wet rag, and you definitely don't want to barter a fistful of crushed herbs with no way to transport or prove its purity. With spice bottles, you're prepared. They're also built tough. Most are made from durable plastic or thick glass that can survive drops, bumps, and heat, making them far more rugged than you'd expect. Need to carry tiny screws or sewing needles for repairs? Done. Want to keep a mini kit of dried food flavorings? Pop some bouillon cubes, dried onions, or garlic powder inside. Preppers have even used them for compact fishing kits, storing hooks, line, and bait, all in one waterproof micro-container. Their portability is key. Unlike large containers, spice bottles fit in coat pockets, side pouches, and belt loops. That means you can build small bug-out kits or barter kits by category, one for spices, one for medicine, one for hygiene items, and hand them off as needed without exposing your entire stockpile. In a desperate world, the ability to carry and trade small amounts becomes a strategic advantage. Because the grid might go down tomorrow and the last bottle of cumin you tossed could have been your seed vault, your painkiller stash, or your emergency fire kit. So stop seeing them as kitchen garbage. Start seeing them as survival vaults. In a world that's running out of space, safety, and certainty, small, sealed, and stackable might just save your life. Number 6. Grimy dish rack drive IP trays. Most people don't even notice the dish rack drip tray except when it's grimy. It sits under your drying rack, collecting water, soap scum, maybe a bit of food waste, and when it gets too gross, it goes straight in the garbage. But that dirty plastic sheet isn't just kitchen residue. After a collapse, it could be one of the most overlooked survival tools in your home if you're smart enough to see it. First, let's look at what it is. A dish rack drip tray is a wide, flat, waterproof surface built to hold liquid and grime without cracking or leaking. That alone makes it valuable. In a grid-down situation, water becomes your most precious resource, and you can't afford to spill a drop. This tray becomes an instant water catch system. Place it under a leaky container, use it to wash small items, or set it beneath makeshift filters to catch every ounce of runoff. In survival mode, even dishwater matters, but it doesn't stop there. Because of its wide, shallow shape, the tray works as an improvised solar dehydrator. Place it in sunlight with sliced vegetables, herbs, or even meat strips, and you've got a basic drying platform. The slight edge keeps bugs out, and the flat surface heats up fast. It's not fancy, but when fuel is limited, sun drying becomes a game changer. Preppers have even used these trays as emergency serving platters, makeshift snow collection pans, or base layers under fire pits to keep flames off flammable surfaces. Their flat, durable design also makes them ideal for organizing supplies, whether you're sorting medical gear, prepping food, or laying out tools during repair work. And because they're thin and stackable, they fit easily in any survival setup. Worried about hygiene? Don't be. A grimy drip tray can be sanitized with boiling water or vinegar in minutes. After that, it becomes a sterile workspace, something you'll desperately need when treating wounds or prepping food in less than ideal conditions. You can even use it as a mini wash basin for cloth, rags, or utensils, especially when you're rationing water and can't afford waste. And here's the real kicker: nobody else is thinking about it. While people panic over canned food and generators, You'll be pulling a trash item out from under your sink that's ready to work in 5 different ways. That's what separates a smart prepper from the rest. So don't throw it out, clean it, store it, and remember this. When survival comes down to creativity, even a greasy plastic tray can mean the difference between staying ready or staying helpless. Number 7. Paper towels. Most people see paper towels as a luxury, a convenience for spills, grease, and kitchen messes. They use them by the roll, waste them without thought, and toss them away by the dozen. But in a GridDown scenario, those soft, disposable sheets become a rare survival commodity. When hygiene, fire starting, filtration, and even insulation are in short supply, paper towels might just become one of the most versatile tools in your stockpile if you had the foresight to keep them. Let's start with the obvious, cleaning. In a collapse, you don't have the luxury of clean water for washing rags every day. Paper towels become your single-use solution for blood, bacteria, or food messes that would otherwise contaminate reusable cloth. They reduce cross-contamination during first aid, food prep, or even human waste cleanup. In a world without antibiotics on demand, that kind of hygiene control isn't just helpful, it's life-saving. But paper towels go far beyond wiping surfaces. When dry, they're perfect fire starters. Light, fibrous, and easily ignitable, they catch sparks from flint, lighters, or batteries. Soaked in oil or wax, they turn into slow-burning fire bricks you can stash in waterproof bags. And unlike newspaper, which can absorb moisture and crumble, paper towels stay intact longer and burn cleaner, giving you more control over your flame when it matters most. Now let's talk filtration. No, paper towels won't make dirty water safe to drink, but they will act as a first-line barrier against large debris, insects, and visible contaminants. Pour water through them before boiling or treating it chemically, and you've already reduced your risk. They can also be layered over jars to strain herbs, ash, or even melted fat for reuse. In a crisis, having a physical filter, even a basic one, is a huge step forward. Paper towels also double as insulation when layered inside clothing. In cold, damp conditions, stuffing dry towels inside jackets, boots, or gloves creates a barrier between your skin and the freezing air. It's not comfortable, but it's warm. That trick alone has helped stranded hikers and refugees survive freezing nights with nothing more than trash bags and paper towels. You can also use them for wound padding, food wrapping, preserving herbs, lining pans, and even as makeshift toilet paper when supplies run out. In extreme cases, they've been used to plug leaks, dry gun parts, or as trail markers when soaked in bright liquids like food dye or iodine. And the best part? Paper towels are lightweight, cheap, and easy to compress. A full roll can be flattened and vacuum sealed to fit into even the smallest bug-out bag. While others overlook them as throwaway convenience, smart survivors know better, because when things go dark, it's the simple tools that often shine the brightest. We live in a world where comfort has blinded most people. They toss away the small things, never realizing those same worthless items could mean the difference between warmth and frostbite, safety and sickness. But you watch this far because something inside you refuses to be caught off guard. The collapse won't come with a warning. It won't wait for your Amazon delivery. One blackout, one supply chain failure, one storm too many, and suddenly you're on your own. No grid, no store shelves, no help, and when that moment comes, people won't be fighting over gold or luxury. They'll be clawing for toilet paper, clean water, anything that works. This channel isn't about panic. It's about power. It's about seeing survival in the ordinary. It's about flipping the script, turning trash into tools, and doubt into readiness. So if you felt even one moment of clarity today, if something clicked in your gut and said, I need to be smarter than the rest, then don't just click away like everyone else. Hit that subscribe button. Because every single day we're uncovering items, tricks, and strategies that no one else is talking about, and when the lights go out, you'll be glad you didn't rely on guesswork. Subscribe now before the rest of the world figures out just how unprepared they really are.